How do we stream to Twitch so quick? Why was that so easy? Why was that shit so easy? She pissed me off. Man. I. Okay. I'll do public. Fuck it. Fuck it. Well, let's try Instagram again. We'll do it again. Oh. Showing up? Oh, there we go. Oh, I needed this food. This is probably the most boring stream ever. Like, you're just watching me eat. That's okay though. That's fine. Look, my personality is so magnetic that even my eating, just watching me eat, people are drawn to me. Alright? Well, that was great. Alright. So, what the fuck are we doing? Alright, hold on. I gotta get my bearings here.
Keep a nice tight back and tight abs. Always keep the bar.
I thought he was gonna say it. Yeah, my mind is fucked. Oh my god. Okay.
Nice tight back and tight abs. Always keep the bar.
Nice tight back.
Close to your body. Full range of motion every single time.
Make it go a little louder.
Do not bounce the weight. Keep a nice tight back and tight abs. Always
I know that.
very close to your body. Full.
Okay, so I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I thought, okay, look. Okay, let's do it like this. Aight. Okay. Okay. Wow, you can't see jack dick on this video. I'll make myself small, okay? I'm fucking tiny over here. Okay. Squee. Man.
Keep a nice tight back and tight abs. Always keep the bar very close to your body.
Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay. Alright, this might literally be the shortest stream of all time. I'm just gonna make sure this shit's working. I'm gonna watch like 2 YouTube videos, and then I'm peacing out of this, because I actually need to get to sleep. Probably thinking, Bertin, why are you up so early? It's 4:30. You think I've gone to bed? I'm still up, motherfucker. But it's okay. Alright, let's watch this.
Keep a nice tight back and tight abs. Always.
Okay, I'll be honest, I thought he was gonna say tight back and tight ass. I'm fucked in the head, okay?
Very close to
It's fine,
your
it's
body.
late.
Full range of motion every single time. Do not bounce the weight. Stop and start.
True. You shouldn't bounce the weight. I hate it when people just like bounce the deadlift. I don't like the touch and go stuff in general, especially for deadlift. It's like, it's a deadlift. Like, the reason it's a deadlift is because it's supposed to be like dead weight on the ground. But, fuck. I didn't even introduce what we're talking about. Okay, well, L stream. All right. So, I'm just gonna go over some deadlift technique stuff, because I'm gonna make a video that's like how to deadlift. I want to start doing like a how-to series. So, how to do squat, bench, deadlift, all those lifts. Maybe some calisthenic stuff eventually, but yeah, I'm just gonna be watching some deadlifts tutorial videos and seeing like what I like and what I don't like, what I think are good cues and what aren't good cues. All right, let's check this out. Learn to deadlift.
You really think you can get me to like dark chocolate?
Fuck.
Without a doubt.
Won't it taste bitter?
She loves dark chocolate.
This distance places the bar directly over the middle.
All right, let's start from the beginning. Shit.
This method for learning the deadlift proceeds in 5 steps. Step 1, stance. The stance for the deadlift is about the same as the stance for a flat-footed standing vertical jump, about 8 to 12 inches between the heels.
So you can say like 8 to 12 inches. Most people don't like have a ruler on them and just measure 8 to 12 inches. So what it really means is like, think of like a weight plate on the ground, and you should be able to put both feet on that weight plate and do the whole lift just on that. So it's like really narrow, like uncomfortably narrow. I'll show you videos of me doing it so you can see. So the reason you do it that narrow is because you have better leverage. When you have more narrow feet, you can basically push like a leg press. Think of it like that for the first part of the lift.
The toes pointed slightly out. The bar should be 1 inch from your shin.
So the reason you're pointing your toes out is because it actually allows your knees to travel in a more natural movement pattern. Some people, it depends on like a anatomical thing. Some people are more comfortable pointing out more. Some people like to just point their toes straight. But the jumping thing is a good cue. Just having someone try to jump as high as they can, because naturally you're gonna take the most natural position for your feet. And you're gonna take the position that's like the best leverage for you. So.
For almost every human being on the planet, this distance places the bar directly over the middle of the foot.
So this cue, usually you want to be able to look straight down, and the bar will be directly underneath you when you're looking straight down. So that's like uncomfortably close. That's one of the things that a lot of people mess up. People put the bar too far away, because it makes sense if it's like further away, but when you have it really close to you, it kind of forces your hips to be really high. So your hips should be high in a deadlift. That's what's supposed to be a natural. It's going to give you the best leverage. So we'll continue.
Position over which the bar stays on its way up to lockout. The angle of the toes will be at least 10 degrees and may
See, I'm not big a fan of like the numbers, 10 degrees, 20. Like nobody has like a fucking, what is it, compass or protractor on them when they're at the gym.
be as much as 30 degrees. Step 2, grip. After you have assumed the correct stance, grip the bar double overhand and thumbs around at a width that places your hands in a position close to your legs.
Okay, so this is a good cue, but I found this out actually like, I'm going to be honest, like 3 months ago. So this cue works for guys. For girls, you actually have to give a different cue because guys, because of the shape of their hips, can just reach straight down. For girls, the shape of their hips is actually going to point out a little bit. So the cue is straight down and then slightly outwards. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Without being so close that you rub your thumbs against them as you pull. Take your grip on the bar by bending over at the waist, stiff-legged, without bending the knees or lowering the hips. Most important at this point and for the following steps is that you do not move the bar.
Okay, so he's going to say don't move the barbell. So this is a really good tip for beginners. Now, eventually, some people do learn like setups that involve moving the bar, but as a beginner, you don't want to move the bar because you set up all of the stuff in the steps before. You make sure your feet placement is exactly where you want it to be. You make sure your distance is where you want it to be, but you don't want to undo all of that by just moving the bar. Even though you're going to be tempted to because it's so close to you, but this is a good cue, I think. Just make sure to not move the bar. Even just twisting it like this is something you don't want to do.
You have gone to considerable trouble to place the bar directly above the mid-foot, and if you move it during this or any subsequent step, you will have undone step 1. Step 3, knees forward. With your grip secure, bend your knees and drop them forward just to the point where your shins touch the bar. Again, do not move the bar. Now,
So this part is where a lot of people mess up because it doesn't feel good to have your hips this high. So this is one of those concepts that is kind of hard for beginners to understand. But when you're doing a lift, especially like one of the compounds, squat, bench, deadlift, you're not trying to be comfortable necessarily. You're trying to maintain tension in the right places. So when you do this position, it's actually going to feel really awkward and you're going to feel this. You don't actually want to drop your hips because you're going to get a really strong tension in your hamstrings. That's actually intentional. That makes you actually have the most leverage. So a lot of people will also kind of hover up like this. So you can see her back angle is like really high. When the back drops is when the hamstring tension is going to actually increase. That's when you actually start the lift. But just for comfort, a lot of people stay at the kind of vertical back angle just at the beginning.
shove your knees out just a little so that they are in contact with the elbows and are parallel to your feet. Remember, do not lower your hips. Do not move the bar. Step 4, chest up. This will be the most difficult step for most people. Squeeze your chest up into the deadlift.
This position feels very awkward, all right? This is where you're gonna feel tension everywhere. But again, when you're doing any lift, especially the compounds, you want to feel tension in the right places. That's the cue, not comfort. All of them, if you're doing them right, they're actually very uncomfortable. But when you're trying to lift weight, you're trying to move out of a certain position. Moving out of a certain position is not going to be a comfortable position, right? Because you're trying to move out of it. So tension is what you want to feel in the right places.
Start position. While gripping the bar, shove your rib cage up so that your chest rotates up between your arms. Let this contraction continue down your back until your lumbar spine is tightened into contraction as well. When you are in the correct position, stare at a point 12 to 15 feet in front of you on the floor so that your neck can assume its normal anatomical position. You might
So this neck thing, I don't think it's really that important, but this is one of those things you usually in most lifts want to keep a neutral neck. So your back angle is going to change. A lot of people, when they stare straight forward, they're going to kind of have their head up like this. So even when your back is like this, then your neck can tend to move up like that. That's like a shitty example. But basically, you can see that her head is pointed down. So it's not actually straight forward, like a lot of people say. It's slightly down. So you kind of want to think that you're not actually contracting anything in your head. Your head is just moving with your back, which isn't a supernatural thing to do, but again, you're not trying to do a natural movement. You're trying to do a movement that feels unnatural to move out of that position, right?
You need to think about keeping your chin down. This step will be difficult because of hamstring tension. Remember, the back muscles and the hamstrings are in a war for control over your...
So this war for control is the actual lever that you're using for hip hinge movements in general. So there's the tension between your hamstrings and your back. Those two are fighting on the way up. So you're leveraging all those muscles in order to create the lever that gives you the leverage, right, to actually lift the weight.
Or pelvic position, and the lower back must win. Your hips will probably be higher than you want them. That's just fine.
True.
After you do a few deadlifts and your hamstrings get warm, the movement will feel better and more familiar. Step 5, the pull. Take a big breath and hold it. Remember, air is support for your back. And
So this is a thing where I think a lot of people fuck up too. So people have different habits that aren't super good when they lift. So for example, a lot of people will inhale and then they'll breathe out all of their air before they start lifting. That is the worst thing that you can do, okay? When you inhale, you're creating what's called intra-abdominal pressure. So you're creating tension, there's the tension again, inside your core. So you want to think about it like you're trying to push against your abs. That's the bracing that you're going to do in every single lift, basically. So when you're lifting, you want to inhale, brace against your core, and then you perform the concentric phase, or the lifting phase, and that's how you get started. That's what you want to do every single time, every single lift. It applies every type of force exchange. You want to have like a more stable core. So just keep that in mind.
then drag the bar up your legs. This means exactly what it says.
So the dragging up the legs, it literally should be like the bar is scraping up against your legs. So one cue that I'll use is don't ever deadlift with shorts. Or if you're gonna have like tall socks, deadlift with tall socks, the bar should be so close that it scrapes against your legs every single time you do the lift. It's that close. So if you're doing shorts and deadlifts and you don't have like socks or anything like that, you should be bleeding. Like your legs should be cut open and you're bleeding on the gym floor. Don't do that. Just deadlift in long pants or high socks, whichever. Or there's like the baby powder or whatever the fuck, but that's cringe. Just use little pants. All right.
Drag implies contact, and the bar never leaves contact with your legs all the way up to the lockout at the top.
Never leaving contact too is also part of a concept in just lifts in general. So the further you are from the weight, the heavier it is. Trying to hold something, I can take something like this, for example, this fucking jar of peanut butter. If I hold this really close, it's really easy to hold, right? The further away I go with it, the harder it is to actually hold. And it's not because it's literally getting heavier, but I am able to engage my muscles in a less leveraged position, basically, when the muscles are further away from the weight. So always in every lift, you want to keep weights close to you, unless the lift is designed to actually artificially make a weight further away from you. You could make like front raises or good mornings or something like that.
Correctly, the bar path will be a straight vertical line, starting at it's positioned directly over the midfoot and ending at the top at arm's length with your chest up, knees and hips in extension, spine in normal anatomical position, your eyes looking slightly down, and your shoulders back.
See, this is a better cue. See, a lot of people, I think he said at first, look straight. The cue really is the look slightly down. Because I used to mess this up, and sometimes I do still when I'm lifting. You'll notice, like, I have a 500 deadlift, and I still make some form mistakes, because when you're pushing the most weight that you can, you're not thinking of doing perfect form. You're just going to move your body however it needs to move to lift the weight. So technically, you would be stronger if you had perfect form, but usually some type of form breakdown will happen when you're lifting as much as you possibly can. That just has to do with certain muscles failing during the lift, and if certain muscles fail, then you're going to start compensating in certain ways, and that's just how it goes. Now, you want to start correcting those, and you want to do perfect practice, so you actually lift as close to perfect as you can during the actual lift, but you're never going to be lifting perfectly on a maximal lift. If you are, then you're probably not doing a max lift, honestly.
Down should be the perfect opposite of up. Be sure that you lower the bar by first unlocking your hips and knees, and then shoving your hips backward and letting the bar slide down your thighs in a straight vertical line.
So the cue for this, think lower the weight first, then start bending everything, right? When you drop the weight, when you lower the weight, a lot of people will stick out their knees first, and then the weight is going onto their knees and it's kind of sliding down on the slope. Don't do that. Drop the weight, and once it gets below your knees, then you start bending your knees. The first thing you're doing is you're throwing your hips back. So when you're locked out, you're upright, and then when you're lowering it, just think the front of your torso goes down and your hips go back until the bar goes past your knees. Once the bar goes past your knees, then you can bend your knees to get to the bottom of the rep. And honestly, a lot of times I think it's even fine to do maybe not a fully uncontrolled eccentric, but you're almost dropping the weight just because of recovery purposes. It'll help your recovery if you drop it pretty quickly.
As the bar passes your knees, you may bend them to finish setting the bar down, never unlocking the back. Pull a set of 5, concentrating especially on your back position and keeping the bar close to your legs. If you're sure your form is good enough, add weight for a few sets until it feels like the next increase might be a problem, and that's your first deadlift workout.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the idea of just pulling 5s, because I don't think deadlift is a super great high rep exercise. I think it's much better in low reps, just because of the recovery issues that come up with it. But holy fuck, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go to bed. This is the shortest stream ever, but I'm tired as fuck. So I'll do a stream tomorrow. I don't know what time, but deal with it. Goodbye.